Hello everyone, this is Daughter Darkness, and today I'm going to be reviewing episode 7 of series 11 of Doctor Who, and we are finally caught up with reviews, until episode 8 airs in a few hours. And with this one, it's Kerblam, with punctuation actually in the title of the episode. I'm not sure, has that ever actually been done before? I mean, possibly in like the 60s when they had individual titles that no one ever remembers. I don't know. Anyway, going into this episode, I had zero expectations, really. The sci-fi stuff has been very middle of the road, underwhelming, a bit bland, and I assumed this was going to be something similar. But it really wasn't. I mean, this episode, it's not perfect, but it is really good. It does some really interesting things. And it's really the concept here that's good. We've got a dystopian future where jobs are so scarce because of automation that even mundane warehouse jobs, the kind of things that in the modern world people will take when they've not really got any other options, they're really coveted, and I quite like that concept. And the whole thing of, this company needs to have at least 10% people who are, actual people rather than robots in the jobs. Kind of reminds me of like diversity quotas and that kind of thing that companies do now to try and look good, and it kind of feels believable in something where human labour in general is relatively surplus to requirements. And obviously the setup here is that the boss is going to be the villain, who's removing his workers so that he doesn't have to pay them and feed them and look after them and that sort of thing, and just have everything done by robots. Which kind of is similar to what happened in Oxygen last year, which wouldn't have necessarily been bad, but I kind of like what they did better, because the real villain of the story is the cleaner, who kind of has a point. Like, people are losing their jobs. You can understand why he's motivated to do what he does. He probably knows people who've suffered or died because they haven't been able to get jobs or anything like that. Of course, he goes way too far and causes more suffering and death, or tries to, in an attempt to stop it. And it works as a reveal. We've got the offhand remark that the Doctor makes earlier on about cleaners always going unnoticed, and as a motivation it really works, so I do quite like that as a concept. The interesting thing though is, while watching this, I was thinking about the main cast a bit more, because, we're most of the way through the series now, we've got a good feel for all of the characters. And I'm just starting to think that I just really haven't taken to the Doctor very much in this series, or any of the companions. Certainly not in the way that I've done with most of the main cast up to now. Like, she's not bad. All of the Doctor-y elements are there, and her performance is doing well. But, I don't know, I just feel like there's not enough here to distinguish her from the other 12 Doctors, apart from, like, the obvious, the fact that she's a woman, which doesn't really mean anything. She's got the elements of the Doctor, but doesn't have enough of her own things going on. So she's not bad, she's just kind of bland, and that's the way that I kind of see it, and it's unfortunate, and there's still a chance for things to change, but that's just how I'm feeling right now. And honestly, I feel this way about the companions too. For all the main cast, I like them, but I just don't feel invested in them in anywhere near the same way that I have with previous casts. If I compare it to last series, I loved the main cast of the last series. That was the biggest strength. The 12th Doctor with Bill and Nardole were all great. They were so fun to watch together, and I did really care about all of them by the end. So everything we went through with Bill in World Enough and Time, I was really invested in what was going to happen. Whereas I think if that kind of thing happened again here, I just don't think I would care if it was Ryan or someone like that who was going through something like this. I'm not sure if this is just because there are too many companions, so the characters don't have enough room to breathe in the way that previous series companions did. But yeah, I just feel like, the main setup, it's fine but unremarkable, which is how most of the series has been up to now. And as for the guest characters in this episode, this seems to be a theme with the episodes that I actually like a bit more, which is that the characters are still underdeveloped because they just don't have enough time to work with them properly, but they work for what they represent. Like in Rosa and Demons of the Punjab, the side characters don't get that much time to develop, but they work as a thematic thing. So we've got the human resources type person who's played by Hayley from Coronation Street, who has a really long name in in real life that I can't remember. I think it's Julie, but then there's like a really long surname. She's very much like of the business side of things, but also trying to root for the people, like, you know, constantly saying organics when she means people. But she's trying to seem like she's down with the workers, but she isn't really. And yeah, the actor does a good job with what she has. It kind of makes sense why she is the way she is, and it also makes sense why no one, whether it's the doctor or the business side of things or the workers, think that they can really trust her. And then why what happens makes her actually double down and genuinely try to be looking after the workers rather than just keeping the status quo. The manager himself, meanwhile, he works as a general kind of mean boss sort of type. Again, he's functional but not great, but I mean, in his role I don't think he really needed to be. Lee Mack's character, however, he's really good, considering how little we actually see of him. We get a clear idea of who he is, what he's about. You know, we know he's got some things that he's done wrong in his past, and he's trying to make amends by working in this warehouse basically on his own the whole time. And I actually did care a little bit when he died, which is pretty good considering he'd only been in about 2 scenes before that. And then as for plot, the evil bubble wrap thing, it's cool and everything. It's basically the remit of Doctor Who, particularly in the modern series, that they like to take things that are normal and make them threatening. It doesn't really work here as a scary thing. Like the day after, I was popping bubble wrap that I'd got and I didn't really care. But yeah, I mean, in the context of the episode it fits, and it's an interesting idea. If you're going into a company like that, you know, going after the things that have to be put in every parcel for safety, it makes sense. So the plot itself works well. It's a very tight story. Things flow very naturally and very well. The kind of whodunit in the context of people who don't really trust each other at all to begin with, yeah, it works, and it's all well done. And the robots themselves, I'd probably say, are the best kind of threat of the series so far. I mean, I'm not going to go out and say that they're amazing or anything, but they do the job well. They're somewhat intimidating. You can see why they're supposed to be friendly, but also why people could be scared of them in the right lighting and in the right situation. So yeah, I really liked this episode, and I was quite surprised about that. It's definitely my favourite non-historical episode of the series so far, and it's a contender for the best one. And it is a good sign that finally there are actually interesting things that this group of writers can actually do with sci-fi, rather than just really bland and forgettable stories. And this is something obviously that can only really be done in the era of Amazon, because this is basically Amazon gone wrong, and it's mostly executed quite well. So actually I come out of a sci-fi episode feeling quite positive, so that's what I have to say. What did you think of Kerblam? Please leave your thoughts in the comment section below the video, and while you're down there, please like this video if you did, and if you liked it then check out my other videos and subscribe to this channel. And as always, thank you for watching.